Well, hey everybody, it is me, Cyrus. Welcome back again. Today we're going to talk about one of the best consoles ever made. Now, that's my opinion. You can disagree with me, that's fine, but that's my opinion. So, I want to talk to you about the PlayStation 3, obviously. I happen to own a couple different models of it. I have the super slim model. This is the 500 gigabyte edition. I've upgraded it since to a terabyte, and this is one of the original model fat backwards compatible PlayStation 3s, and this is a model that has been restored. It's been reflowed, recapped. It's been taken care of very well, and so that's why you're going to see when I show it to you, some of the stickers and things have been either removed or torn or cut through, this sort of thing. So I want to talk to you a little bit about this console. There is a couple of other variants as well. There's a model that most people, I think, recognize as the PlayStation 3 that they ended up buying, which is the slim model. It's the model that I don't own. I really do want to get one eventually at some point. I just have never owned the slim model. I think it looks really cool. I think, like I said, it's the one I think most people ended up buying because the first model that came out was, really expensive to buy. They had to do some revisions on this and re-released it a couple of times. There's a re-release that has backwards compatibility through software and not through hardware, because this one actually has like a PlayStation 2 built into it. So it actually has the hardware from a PS2 inside of it. So it'll do PlayStation 3, PlayStation 2, and PlayStation 1 completely with hardware. I think PlayStation 1 is software, but it's handled the same way as it was on PS2, basically. The PlayStation 3 Super Slim will do PlayStation 1 through software, but the only way you can play PlayStation 2 games on that is if you download PlayStation 2 games off the PSN store. Like if you bought the games and they're like, designed for the PlayStation 3, or if you do some sort of mod. I think there's a way you might be able to, but with mixed results, so I don't really recommend that. Aside from restoring this and reflowing it and everything to give it sort of a longer life, recapping it and all that, this has not been modified. So I don't have any mod chips installed. I don't have any modified, I do have new hard drives in these, but I don't have any real modifications done to my systems. And if you want to jailbreak your PlayStations, you can do that. A lot of people do. I know there's been a lot of concern about the PlayStation Store being taken down, PlayStation Network support going away eventually. So a lot of people have decided to just go ahead and jailbreak their PlayStation 3s and handle that however they choose to. I have not done that, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. That might be what I end up doing with the slim model when I end up getting one eventually. Who knows? I have no idea. But it is something that a lot of people do, so I wanted to mention it. So the PlayStation 3 was launched with a controller called the 6-axis controller that did not have built-in rumble support. Later they did end up releasing the DualShock 3 controller, which has a built-in battery and has rumble support and all the same functionality of a PS2 controller, plus that PlayStation button. I'm sure you're familiar with how these controllers work. They're extremely popular. The PlayStation 4 controller is an evolution of this, and of course the PS5 controller is an even further evolution. What I love about the PlayStation 3, though, if you have the DualShock 3, is that this controller, aside from having analog triggers, is the same controller basically that you had for the PlayStation 1 when you got the DualShock for the PlayStation 1, and the controller that came with the PlayStation 2. So when you're playing backwards compatible games, whether they be PS1 or PS2 games on your PS3, you really get that authentic experience using these controllers. So there's a lot of reasons that I love this console so much. Yes, the controllers are a big part of that. The original model PlayStation 3 has support for several different types of memory cards, which I have really never used, but if you know, back in the day when this came out, there was a lot more it probably made a lot more sense to have that. But you do have that support if you want to add if you want to transfer games back and forth or saves or things like that, you have that capability. So there is that. Plus you could put media in here for just like movies and TV shows, music, stuff like that. So there's some reasons, I guess, that you might want to use that. It does play the CD games for the PlayStation, CD and DVD games for PlayStation 2, Blu-ray games, and Blu-ray movies. So you can do DVD movies and Blu-ray movies. So it's actually a really nice Blu-ray player. They give you several USB ports that you can use for various different things right there in the front. Nothing really here on this side. On the back you can see huge power plug, standard like old school PC or monitor plug, which you can use any of those on this. Works just fine. There's the standard PlayStation 2 AV port. So any of those cables do work on this. If you've got component cables for your PlayStation 2, you can actually use them on this. It's fine. It supports optical. There is built-in Ethernet. There's HDMI, and of course it also has built-in Wi-Fi. So you have that too. It's pretty impressive to think about all this being built into the first release PlayStation 3, especially since the initial model of the Xbox 360 did not have all of this stuff by any stretch of the imagination. You can see all the different logos they have showing you everything there. It's quite a bit of venting on this, but I will tell you this, it still does put out quite a bit of heat. I actually have a laptop cooling fan that I sit underneath my PlayStation 3 because I want this thing to last as long as possible. I absolutely adore this console. And yes, you can flip that PlayStation logo depending on which way you want to set your PS3. If you want to flip it that way, or if you want to flip it the other way. This top panel will come off. I'll show you right here. You can take it off. You could probably replace that if your panel gets messed up, get a different color if you like, things like that. So it's pretty awesome. I think it's a really cool looking system. It kind of looks like a George Foreman grill, if you remember those. So a lot of people used to call this the George Foreman PlayStation 3. It's about as heavy as a George Foreman grill too. It's pretty damn heavy. And I've opened it up because I have had to replace the power supply. Believe it or not, I did have to replace the power supply, which is really easy to do for this if you ever have to do that. And they're not expensive. You can get a power supply off eBay pretty cheap even today. So unfortunately I did have to do that, but yeah. So I've opened it up and looked inside there, and it's pretty much all metal. It's very well made. I mean, I guess that's up for debate, but as far as the quality of the components go, it's all metal, so it's really cool. You do have touch sensitive buttons here, which as long as you put it back together correctly, those work properly. If you don't, you might have some issues, but that's really awesome. This is the Super Slim PS3. Very simplistic design. This just slides open with your hand. The buttons are not touch sensitive. You actually have to press them in. Here's the eject button. You can see that right there. It actually does eject it if you press it. And then the power button is right here. There's the PlayStation logo right there, which I don't know if you can flip that one. I don't think you can. I've never tried to. No, I don't think you can flip that one. Two USB ports in the front. This is where you change this is for the base install. You change the hard drive out by sliding this side out. And in the back, we still have optical, the standard AV port, HDMI, Ethernet, all the stuff you would hope. A much smaller power cable, the same type of power cable that you would use for PS2, PS3, PS2, PS1, Sega Saturn, any number of consoles use this type of, well, basically this type of interface. Some of them have like one side of this shaped slightly differently, but it's the same type of power. It's just a power cord. There's no brick or nothing like that. And that's the design, very simplistic. Some people have really expressed a lot of disappointment in this design. They think it looks cheap and feels cheap, and it's just, you know, not as impressive as the old school PlayStation 3 or even the mid-range, the regular slim PS3. So a lot of people don't like this particular design. I think it looks great. I actually like it a lot. It's really lightweight. I've had no problems. I actually have owned a couple of these. I gave one to my brother. I gave one to my daughter. I think it's a really good design. The reason I think it's a good design is because you do have the mechanical buttons, which is good. That's good for longevity. And this drive that opens up like this mechanically, yeah, it might feel a little cheap, but that means that you don't ever have to worry about this breaking. It's gonna, you know, be able to open and close basically forever. And they both are compatible with all the same peripherals, whether that be the controllers you're trying to use or the Move controllers. Sony did release their own version of motion controls for the PlayStation 3, which is the Move controllers, and they have a camera that goes with that. And then there's the famous controllers, which don't exactly look like video game controllers, but those controllers have actually outlived the PlayStation 3. They have gone on and had their own life with PlayStation VR for the PS4 and going into the PS5. So that's kind of fascinating. But yeah, there are some games that take advantage of the motion controls, and some of them actually take advantage of motion controls just using these controllers, because these do have some motion control aspects to them as well. But overall, that's pretty much the gist of the design for the hardware for the PlayStation 3. This is definitely one of my all-time favorite consoles. It's tough to pick your favorites. It's tough to say this is my favorite or that's my favorite, but I do have to tell you, this is right there in the top of my favorite consoles because of everything that this thing can do. The PlayStation 3, especially the old school fat model PlayStation 3, I mean, you get 3 generations of PlayStation in one console. It'll play all the games. It does downloadable games. It has free online, so as long as that's around, you have that. It's just a great gaming experience at 1080p. So many games run just wonderfully. It's just a really great console, and I have a ton of games for it, and I'm really glad that I have it. It's hard to say if I could recommend it because I don't know what all is going to happen in the future. But if you're interested in it and you want to have that experience on an actual PlayStation console with the backwards compatibility and everything, then it's really cool. Yeah, let's take a look at some of my favorite games on the PlayStation 3, actual PlayStation 3 games, and talk a little bit more about what the features are of this console and how it handles backwards compatibility. Well, there it is, the famous opening for the PlayStation 3. This opening sequence will be different depending on what time of year it is, what season it is. These colors actually change.
The PlayStation 3 also has like themes and things you can set up if you want, but I just have always left it like this because I just like it like that. Um, on the PlayStation 3, you have a lot of options. This is your standard menu bar, and there's quite a bit of stuff you can do on here. This is the same type of menu that you will see on like a PlayStation Portable, which, by the way, you can actually also download your digital PlayStation Portable games and store them on your PlayStation 3, and then transfer them to your PlayStation Portable from the PS3. That's pretty useful to be able to do. And you can even do a remote play from your PlayStation 3 to your PlayStation Portable, believe it or not. But as far as games are concerned, I've got a bunch of different games on here. There's PlayStation digital games that I have, tons of those. PlayStation 2 digital games, quite a few of those. And then there's PlayStation Minis, which are small little arcade games and various different small games that you could buy. These were actually designed to be able to work on the PlayStation Portable, on the PlayStation 3, and on Sony mobile phones. So, yeah, they're pretty cool. Pretty simplistic, just regular little arcade versions of games. Like, it's like the actual arcade version of Akari Warriors and things like that. But it's pretty cool that they have that on there. All my PlayStation 3 games are in this folder here. And then, of course, if I have a disc in, it'll show up here what the format of that disc is. You can go up here and manage all your memory cards. You can transfer memory cards from one PlayStation 3 to another PlayStation 3. They actually also make an adapter that will let you plug in an old school PS1 or PlayStation 2 memory card into your PS3 and transfer save files back and forth. So if you have your old save files on your old memory cards for your PlayStation or PlayStation 2, yeah, there's a way you can actually put them on your PS3 and keep them digitally that way. And then you could even move those to an SD card or something and keep them forever. So pretty cool. They have a lot of different options for things like that. But we're going to take a look at some PS3 games. There are so many PS3 games that I think are just amazing and worth trying out. The Wipeout HD collection is a game you absolutely have to play if you've never tried it. There's a version of this for the PS4, but it just looks amazing on PS3. So let's take a look at that real quick. All right, here we go. Wipeout HD collection. This is just a beautiful game. It actually runs at 60 frames per second, 1080p on the PS3, which is amazing. This video is 720p, so sorry about that, but yeah, it just looks fantastic. It should translate pretty well, I think, though. Just play it for just a second. Feels great with the PS3 controller. Yeah, so if you have the backwards compatible PS3 like I do, then you can play Wipeout, Wipeout XL, Wipeout 3, Wipeout for the PlayStation 2, and the Wipeout collection for the PS3 all on one console. So that's a lot of Wipeout. Yeah, there is a PlayStation 4 version of this as well, and it does upgrade a few things, but it is basically the same as this. So if you want to play this on PS3, you're not going to be missing out, really.
Final lap.
Yeah, definitely check this game out. This is one of the most amazing games that of this kind that you'll find, and a really great version of it on the PlayStation 3. Of course, if you're gonna play racing games on the PlayStation 3, you're gonna want to play Gran Turismo 6. This game is absolutely beautiful, and yeah, there are newer versions of Gran Turismo for the PlayStation 4 and for PlayStation 5, but Gran Turismo 6 still offers a really awesome racing experience, whether you enjoy the rally side of things or the racing on raceways and tracks. I think there's just plenty of great gameplay to be had playing Gran Turismo on your PlayStation 3. It looks absolutely beautiful, plays great, and is just a lot of fun. I will tell you though that installing the updates for Gran Turismo 6 is a serious pain in the butt. Be aware of that. But if you can get through that and deal with it and get it all to update properly, then this is the premier racing game for the PlayStation 3. And better, I think, than pretty much any racing game of that generation. It's just really solid. So definitely try it out. I think it's worth noting that some of the games on PlayStation 3 that require online functionality or have to communicate with the servers for certain aspects of the game, certain features of the game, things like that, some of these games are going to have some limitations because not all that functionality is still online. Unfortunately, a lot of those older servers are down now, so there are some aspects of games like Gran Turismo 6 that you just won't be able to take advantage of. But if you're looking for an awesome single-player experience, a local single-player experience, then you're not going to have nothing to worry about. This game still works fine, still plays great. There are just some issues with some games that need to interact with servers for certain features, and some of that is built into Gran Turismo 6, but it's not required. So you might have some games where it's different features or things like that, so it's just something to be aware of for some of these older games. But you even see that now on like PS4 or some of the Xbox games and things like that. So unfortunately, servers don't stay online forever. But that's not going to stop you from having a blast with Gran Turismo 6. Yeah, you're going to want to play Metal Gear Solid 4. If you've never played it, this is the platform to do that on. It's, Metal Gear Solid. It is what it is, right? It's extremely well-known, classic franchise. And a lot of people missed out on this particular game because they never had a PlayStation 3. So if you have missed out on it, this is something you want to look at if you decide to get yourself a PlayStation 3. it's, you know, it's Metal Gear Solid, which means it's going to be top-notch storytelling, political espionage, sneaking around, really cool tech. There's a lot of really great stuff about this franchise. It is weird, though. It's, you know, Metal Gear, so there's going to be some Hideo Kojima strangeness. But yeah, obviously I'm going to recommend this.
Ideologies or ethnicity. It's an endless series of proxy battles fought by mercenaries and machines. War and its consumption of life has become a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, you're going to want to play this game. Find out what happens next when you play Metal Gear Solid 4 yourself. And of course, you're going to want to try to play the God of War games on the PlayStation 3. They do have the remastered versions for PS4 and PS5. But yeah, these are just, you know, they're all great. Even the ones that are like remakes. They're all fantastic. This is God of War Ascension right here, which, you know, a lot of people said they didn't really like as much, but graphically I think it's extremely impressive on the PS3. Definitely a game worth playing. And if you never played any of the Killzone games on PlayStation 3, you're really missing out because this series is phenomenal. Killzone 2 and Killzone 3 are both just really excellent first-person shooter games. This is sort of PlayStation's answer to Halo.
This isn't right, man. We shouldn't be running. The Higgs are gonna pick us off one by one. I don't see anyone. Wait, there's a couple of Higgs up ahead. Let's kill them quietly before they see us. There's another one around the corner. You take him. Nice. Where the hell is the rest of the convoy? Follow me.
Hey, Sarge, over here!
Where are the others?
No idea! We think they're through this square! Come on, the river's this way!
Let's take them down!
There's so many games on the PS3 that are just absolutely fantastic. This is Ridge Racer 7. And again, just an amazing version of Ridge Racer. Looks great, plays great, super smooth, just amazing. It's a great console, and whether you want to play PS3 games, PS2 games, PS1, there's so many awesome experiences to have on the PlayStation 3. I highly recommend it. And I don't know what the ultimate situation is going to be as far as the online capabilities of the system or the online store, or where, you know, whether or not you'll be able to download your games that you've bought forever, or if that will go away. It probably won't last forever. But at least for now, I think this is a fantastic system, and there's a lot of reasons to own one of these consoles. So let me know what you think. Do you enjoy the PlayStation 3? Have you ever owned one? Is this a system that you know much about? Is this like, I mean, maybe you have a lot of experience with it. I have to admit, I was late to the PS3 party because, you know, it was such an expensive system when it came out. I went with the Xbox 360, and I had the 360 throughout most of that lifespan of that generation. And it was only at the very end that I picked up a PlayStation 3. I got a PS3 around the same time that The Last of Us came out, which, you know, if you never played The Last of Us, you can definitely play it on PlayStation 3, and it's just as fun as it is on anything else. Of course, there's better ways to play that now on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. Just an amazing game. And another one of those exclusive titles that really made the PlayStation 3 worth owning. Because there's quite a few games that you can really only play on this console. And a lot of those games have never had re-releases or remasters. So there's, you know, the PS3 is still the only way to play some of those amazing games. So yeah, if you, and by the way, if you are a Ridge Racer fan, Ridge Racer 7 on the PlayStation 3 is absolutely amazing. It's great. It might be the best Ridge Racer. I don't know. Ridge Racer Type 4 on the old school PlayStation 1 is really great, don't get me wrong. But yeah, this one's just beautiful and fantastic. Anyway, let me know your thoughts about the PS3. I'll definitely be doing more videos talking about some of the games that I have for this console and for the PS2, PS1. So yeah, I'm a big PlayStation guy, so I'll definitely be talking about all the different reasons that I love this platform. Okay, well that's it for now. Thanks for watching. More videos coming soon, and I will talk to you later. Take care. Bye-bye.